Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and guests and are not necessarily those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. Time now for European Kitchens and Bath here on WSTU. Call in with questions and comments. 220-9788. 220-WSTU. Now here's your host, John Campion.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Martin County, Treasure Coast, Martin County, Stewart, Palm City, Jensen Beach, Hope Sound, all our happy places.
And if the wind is blowing in the right direction in some parts of the Bahamas, you never know.
Okay.
Yeah, you never know.
This is John Campion. I'm your host. This is my 13th week of fun. I'm going to have to take a little sabbatical. I got a few vacation weeks coming up. They're not really vacation, but it sounds good. And I own European Kitchen and Bath here in Stewart on Monterey. And every week we kind of have just a good time.
We try to, yeah.
My co-host is...
You were busy fiddling with the headset, and I played a little cartoon blurb before we went on air, but you missed it.
What? Hey, Rocky!
Yeah. Well, you did.
It was really me, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, this is Frank Mezzapel, my co-host. I'm not going to call him Big Frank or World Famous because he's both, and he doesn't know why.
You're too kind. You're
now,
too funny.
Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, because I can't hear myself, which is...
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know, but it's okay. It's not... Oh, there it is. Oh. It reminds me of my Sonos at home. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
I'm going to move it around. Plug in here. Try this.
A little bit. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to do it by feel. All right.
Okay. I guess
You
I don't
got
know
it?
what's going on here.
Yeah, it could be your
You guys
headset.
still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just pretend like I'm part of the show.
Yeah.
Anyways, here we are. It's Tuesday, June 5th, and school's out. We are really, really fortunate to have special guests today, two guests, and it's one feeds on the other, and then we're all going to feed off each other. And everybody out there listening, this is really cool stuff. My two guests is Larry Mueller, right? Is that right?
Correct. You got it
All
right.
right. Well, Larry is. I've known Larry for a couple of years. He is a local person and been a developer, contractor, all those fun things. And he's representing the Treasure Coast Philanthropy Circle, known as the Circle or TCPC, and we'll have him talk about that briefly for a little bit and elaborate on its philanthropic group. And as we've talked before on the show here, a lot of philanthropy in the area. It's just if you haven't lived, when you get here, you don't realize it, and then you see it, and it is kind of everywhere. But it's all good stuff. It's good people, giving people in the community. It's fantastic. So this is I'll let Larry talk about that. And our segue guest from there is Sarah Pollock from Project Lift, which is a phenomenal program going on in Palm City. It's about 9 years old, and if you haven't heard of it, you really need to pay attention, because this is doing the stuff that we're all talking about, taking care of our youth, troubled youth, putting them on the right path, giving them opportunity. We always say not everybody has to go to college, and you don't, because the opportunities that they do in training and just getting the kids going the right way is really an amazing thing. And boy, this model can work. It's proven itself. They got a wonderful leader. We'll let Sarah talk about that. And with that said, because I talk a lot. Last time we were here, all of a sudden Frank's like, "It's 1 minute, John," and I didn't shut up the whole time. So Larry, why don't you kind of tell us what's going on?
Well, thanks, John, and thanks, Frank, for having us today. We're real excited to talk about what we're doing. My wife and I have lived in Martin County for 30 years, and when we moved here, we wanted to get involved in the community, so we got we got set up into various nonprofits and got involved with getting on boards and helping various groups around the county. And I think that last year we really started to identify something that really was concerning to us, and that is, in my business, in the construction and development business, it was quite evident that we were having a very large shortage of workforce in the trade industry. And there's a lot of kids, generations of kids, that are being lost today that aren't going to go to college. They're not finishing high school. In some cases they are, but they need direction. They need hope. They need some opportunity to someone to take them in and give them the emotional and social skills to get eventually vocational skills and get out into the workforce. And our trades are desperate for a workforce. So my wife and I started talking about forming what we ended up doing and launching the first of the year, called the Treasure Coast Philanthropy Circle. And we work in conjunction with the Martin County Community Foundation, which is our strategic 501c partner. And I remember talking to Elizabeth Barbello, who is the president and CEO of the Martin County Community Foundation. I said, listen, I have this vision. We have this vision and this mission, and our tagline is, we want to give people a hand up and not a handout. And our mission is specifically we want to work with nonprofits that are going to transform young people's lives. We want them to come into a nonprofit and have them work with these kids and give them their hope and dignity back, and give them vocational training and get them back, assimilated back into society, back into our community, and back into the workforce. And I said, I'd love to be able to support programs like that with the Circle. And I said, I don't know if any exist. I don't know if we have to start our own. And so I need your help with that, because you're the expert in the nonprofits. I'm talking to Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Elizabeth said, well, I'm going to take you out and show you something, and I think I'm going to blow your mind. And she did blow my mind. We took a ride out to Project Lift. I met Bob Zacchio, met Sarah, met some of the great people out there, and I was just absolutely blown away. And John, you've been out there with me, and you've seen what's going on, how they take in a lot of kids out of the drug courts. They bring them into the program. Sarah's going to talk a lot about what they do. But, you know, to see these kids get transformed and get worked back into society and give those kids the emotional and emotional ability and give them hope and dignity back, and then get them started on a path of a viable trade is absolutely incredible. So we've started our philanthropy circle. We're working diligently to recruit members. We have approximately 25 members currently, but we're a gathering of friends, business leaders, philanthropists, community leaders. We're coming together through our membership to basically support groups like Project Lift and others that are going to meet our mission. We currently are getting ready to give a grant within the next 30 days to Project Lift, where they're going to set up a complete air conditioning HVAC pony type prototype program, where they're going to train about 15 kids over a 3 to 4 month period. Yeah. And they're going to give them the complete training where when they get done, they can go out into the workforce, and some of our members and some of our mentors are going to have the opportunity to take advantage of these young adults coming out of this program and get them right into the workforce. And we believe that Sarah will talk to you about how many kids Project Lift works with. But I'm a real pusher. And I've told Bob Zacchio out there, I know you work with 150, 200 kids a year. I want to see you work with 1,000 kids a year, Bob. I want you to think big. And what we're doing in Project Lift, what they're doing in Project Lift, and what we're doing to help support Project Lift and others like this is something that's needed not only in our community but every community, because every community is seeing this problem as well. If we're waiting for our schools or our government to solve this problem, it's never going to happen. And so the community has to come together with programs that are going to work. And I think that's a nice overview of what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, you know, if I may just say this before I put Sarah on here, because I can't wait to hear what she has to tell everybody. I I've known Larry for a couple of years. He is a pushy guy because he was a customer of ours. I had to fix some stuff, which we did. But you know what? He was always a true gentleman and a pro with everything, and I appreciate that.
Thanks, John.
The second thing is I had the fortune, which Sarah was there, being a member of the Treasure Coast Builders Association, when Project Lift was the sponsor for one of our breakfasts here for the county. And that was, in conjunction with TCBA, Treasure Coast Builders, and our executive director, Maddie Williams, had brought them in to be the sponsor. And Bob Zacchio, I was drinking the Kool-Aid. The guy is a incredible mind. He just has it, and he's a player. And this whole program he came up with is just it's sweet. And you know what? When you have a great model of something that's working the way it is now, just think when you have the proper funding and facilities and everything, because what they do for these kids and what they can do for our community is amazing. It's almost hard to believe, and you think, what and this model should be taken and can be replicated. So, with that said, and me having agreed that I drank the good Kool-Aid, Sarah,
What flavor?
I like the what is it?
Passion fruit. How's that?
Yeah, that's what I like. Thanks, Frank. But anyways, this is Sarah Pollock with Project Lift. Tell us about your role and just go do your thing. You got about 15 minutes. I know you can do it.
Well, thank you. And I'm really appreciative that I got the opportunity to be on the radio. And thank you, Larry, for the invitation as well, and for everything that you and your wife and TCPC are doing for us.
I hope everybody can hear us. Go ahead.
Can you hear? Am I loud
good.
enough? Okay.
No, I'm just like the deaf man here.
So my name's Sarah Pollock. I am the Director of Programs for Project Lift currently in Palm City, and also a licensed mental health counselor. Bob Zacchio started Project Lift about 9 years ago, just like me and lots of other, licensed professionals, therapists in the community, and probably in lots of different places in the U.S. We're becoming frustrated with the way that mental health is being provided to our youth. I think Bob felt that it was important that kids get some sort of different, unique opportunity to express themselves and to learn, be challenged, while they're provided with mental health services, where you just don't get the same effect that you would sitting with an at-risk youth in an office space for 45 minutes. They're not really ready to open up with you. They're bored out of their mind. They're like, why am I here? And we've just found that the kids love to come to be a part of our programs. The majority really do. So, now we're here 9 years later. Our staff is increased. The amount of kids that we're serving yearly is increased, and each year we're adding more and more programs.
Okay, so I'm happy to throw a few questions at you. The day I came over there with Larry, and I was greeted at the front door. Actually, Bob came walking across the street and wondered why I was parking in Lloyd Rogers' driveway. Okay, hey Lloyd. Anyways, with that said, came inside, and you could just, with everybody, it was a busy place, and the culture in there, I was totally blown away. Everybody was so positive, no matter who you met, whether it was a volunteer, Sarah, the kids that were in the program walking through, and everybody was very generous to introduce me to everyone. Nobody's a stranger, explaining what these people were doing here and there. I was totally amazed.
There's a lot of positive energy in that place. I mean, I have to say, I love going to work every day, and I don't think a lot of people feel that way. So, waking up and knowing like I'm going to work, I'm excited about it, I'm even thinking about the job over the weekend. And really, it's not a 9-to-5 kind of job. Like, if you really want to be in a kid's life, you've got to keep your doors open, your phone on. Sometimes I get calls at midnight with a crisis going on, but it's a part of the job that I love because I've really been able to be a part of these kids' lives. And I think that's, our staff loves to work there as well, and all of our volunteers. I mean, we've got over 60 volunteers at any given time because they feel that positive energy that I think you're feeling, John.
So first of all, where do you find these kids? How do they get to you? And then when they come in, can you kind of walk us through? I mean, I think Bob was really emphasizing the mental health side of it, getting these kids with the right mindset, they're coming out of drug court or they come from a broken family. One of the cool things Larry told me is how they get picked up. It's not like some van picking them up. They get picked up in personal vehicles,
Yes.
an SUV or a sedan, and it's not like they're being typecasted per se.
They're not flagged as to, what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
Let me explain some of the things that we do at Project Lift. So we have the mental health component, which is, so important. Another one of our themes that we're trying to hone in on is education. Education, there's many different ways of providing it. Unfortunately, a lot of kids fall through the cracks in the education system currently in the U.S. So, we're picking up the pieces with a lot of these kids that are on the brink or have dropped out of high school. So the way we provide education is unique. The third component is vocational trades and career pathways. So how do we help get kids jobs in the community? I think those three components are what make us mostly unique. And I mean, when I've tried to do the research, I cannot find a program like Project Lift anywhere else being done the way that we're doing it, and it just keeps expanding. So the way that we get kids, we classify them as at risk, but that's very a broad statement. We get kids in that, yes, they're coming from the court system, so that includes drug court, probation. They maybe gotten their first offense or suspended at school for the first time, so they're put into a diversion program from the schools to help keep them on the right path, so they don't end up, getting into more trouble. We also have kids that are coming from some of, being referred to us from other local agencies, anything from, Tykes and Teens or La or Hibiscus Children's Center, Suncoast. So, we work a lot with different partners, case managers, therapists, anyone that's really involved in children's lives. We have churches that respond to us and, lots of our partners and as well as families just reach out to us. So we're getting kids from all over Martin County. What John, you were saying is, we help provide transportation. So during school time, we pick them up after school in our own vehicles and bring them back, provide them, food. We have dinner together each evening. And the coolest thing about the program is that the kids are receiving a stipend for their time with us. They are feeling pride for doing a day's hard work with us and, receiving sometimes their first paychecks. These kids are, exceptional. I see in the eyes when every time a kid comes in, every time that a kid comes into the program, I see it as, what can we do to provide a quality life for this kid now? What are the things that they need? And that really comes back to the social emotional competencies that are unfortunately missing in school systems and sometimes at home.
Yeah, I was thinking at home. I mean, what if they're not feeling loved and just, who knows what goes on at home?
Yes, yeah. So, it's so important to us to provide that. I mean, the simplest thing that you can tell a teenager is, hey, I don't know if you've been told this much, but we love you here and we're happy that you're here. And the day that you decide to walk out that door or you graduate successfully from the program, we're still a part of your family. Come back anytime. And we do. We have kids, that I've only been working for Project Lift for 2 years, but we have kids come in that are, been graduates for 4, 5, 6 years, and they come through the door and say hi to Miss Susie or, Bob or anyone else that's been around for longer. The next goal that we have right now is, because we've worked with so many kids that have been dropping out of high school, is developing a pre-apprentice high school program. So the kids are working in a high school they're working on their high school diploma, excuse me, while they are working full time with us and learning a trade. So having Larry come in and teach the HVAC services and is going to be incredible, because I know that that's going to improve opportunities for their kids once they graduate. We've had 3 kids graduate from the program so far, and next week is our graduation ceremony for them. So we're really looking forward to that.
Did you get a on you, Frank?
Bless you.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
Sarah, let me say a few more things, because from
Sure.
my observation, and Sarah is part of a team over there that works with these kids. In addition to, they have trained staff that are actually teaching the kids vocations. They're learning mechanics, they're learning welding, they're repairing bikes, they're fixing and building boats. She has a complete program for the girls. They've got all kinds of things, and eventually I can see 10 additional modalities, trade modalities, into this Project Lift scenario. But what I really see, and the thing that really popped out at me, is that they are able to take kids and they're able to teach them and get them vested in themselves to become reliable, have work ethic, to really buy in, invest into the program, that, hey, someone really cares about me. And I didn't think I had an opportunity, or I never thought that I'd get anywhere in life. When they come through the Project Lift program, when they're done, they are somebody. And they walk out of there with confidence and dignity, and they're ready to assimilate back into society, earn a great living wage, raise their own family, and be part of the community. And that's what Project Lift does, compared to just throwing kids in a vocational training program. They have the secret sauce, as Bob says,
Yeah, that's a good term.
to
I
turn
like
these
that.
kids
I like that.
into kids that really buy in. And that's what's so special, and that's why people around the country are all coming to talk to Bob and Project Lift on.
That's cool.
How do you guys do it? How do you guys have such a high percentage of kids that come through your program successfui?
It's the Project Lift way.
That was one of the biggest things that kind of surprised me when I was talking with Bob, and I asked, he started it. I was just like, wow, that's incredible. And, he is so amazing. I mean, I just, as a business owner and somebody's, I hear it every day in our business groups or out there. I don't care where I am. We can't find there's nobody out there to do it. I mean, it's kind of like a mantra from everybody, including homeowners who say, yeah, there's nobody out there. We see it in so many different things, particularly in my business with, plumbing and whatnot, or electricians but all those areas that are being covered, and the fact that they're learning that responsibility with the bike repairs. I really thought it was cool with the young man who he got the Mustang, and all he had to do is he had to work with the guy who runs the department to fix it up and. Understand that it's his responsibility. Frank, convertible Mustang. What that? Car? I don't know cars, but it was like.
I start?
And he was really jazzed by everything.
Bet so.
Like I say, everything in there, and they're so proud of their facility and what they do and the people they have as they go back to the people, and it all starts. I think that most important thing you said, Sarah, is the mental health side of stuff, of getting in there and working with that, rather than. Okay, well, he graduated from welding school, but is he who knows?
Right.
Is he going to have that lifelong thing of responsible?
You need that mentorship to really. Learning a skill is one thing, but there's several dynamics about how did you get that knowledge for that skill, and it's the human interaction, and there's so many parts of the learning process, and it's not just spoon feeding knowledge. There's a lot to it.
So I think still
It goes back to the relationship that you build with them.
Yep.
So Larry, going back to the circle, as you call it.
The circle, the intimate circle.
What's the attitude in there? Like, you brought me through there. I heard about the program, elsewhere, What do we do to try to get some people to come through there? I mean, within this group is great. I mean, it has to happen, and certainly with the money coming in from the grants and all that, helping build this. Project Lift needs to continue getting the word out and working with everybody and getting different people through there. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well, we got our own website, John. It's tcpc.life, L-I-F-E, and people can get on the website and take a look at what we're doing.
Yeah.
It'll go through it. We're a pretty simple organization with a lot of passionate people that want to give back to the community and really give a hand up, not a handout. And that's our mission, and we're just getting started. And Project Lift is going to be our first recipient, and probably not our last recipient, to be quite honest with you, because we love what they're doing.
Yep. Well, for those listening, remember that. Remember Sarah. If you get a chance, go and check out those that out there that are, want to do that same thing he just said, helping the community and giving back. And, as a business owner, I feel that way. I try to continue giving in my different ways, but it's nice when you can put the focus on something. So I really thank you for staying on me, because you got to stay on me.
Thanks, John.
Sarah,
Thank
thanks
you,
for
John.
coming today. Larry,
Thanks, Frank.
keep up the good work. Frank, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, buddy.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We actually had a call earlier. I thought we actually had a first caller. Remember, if you call me and come by the store, I'll give you a bottle of wine. But, that's the way it is. But anyways, everybody take care. Have a great evening, and we'll see you and talk to you soon. Thanks again, Frank.
Good night.
John Campion signing off. And Frank, thanks for all your support.